here at home, the war with Iran is also causing gas prices to surge.
AAA says Tennessee's average gas prices are now over $3 per gallon.
We are paying about 50 cents more than a week ago for a gallon of regular gas.
It's $3.50 a gallon almost, and right now I'm already at $65 and still pumping.
$5.39, $5.59, and $5.79. This is ridiculous. We went from 3s to 5s.
That is just one of the headaches facing Americans right now, gas prices. And over the weekend, travelers spent hours in TSA lines because Democrats still refuse to fund the federal government, fund DHS, holding it hostage because of ICE. Take a listen.
It's the longest I've ever seen it. I flew into Atlanta several times, and this is by far the longest I've ever seen in my life.
As we've been going through security, we came from Hawaii, and I've been thanking them as I came across because this is ridiculous.
I just think it's just bad. This is bad business. I don't really understand we know what's going on, but I think it needs to be cleaned up.
The fact that this is actually happening is kind of unbelievable. Open it back up, I guess. I'm over it.
TSA workers aren't being paid right now. They're sort of being held hostage as the pawn, so Democrats can try to get concessions from the administration on ICE. Suffice it to say, the American people have an impressive list of grievances, which is not what you want as the party in power during an election year. With us now, Shelby Talcott, White House correspondent for Semafor, Madeline Summerville, Democratic strategist, strategic communications advisor. Ladies, good to see both of you. Shelby, start with you. Top story in the Wall Street Journal. Trump advisors urge him to find Iran exit ramp. How cognizant is the White House of how annoyed, irritated, what's the right word, the American people are?
Well, the White House and the aides around Donald Trump are very cognizant, and they really have been for the past few months. I talked to some of his top aides over the past few months about the looming midterms and the sort of economic issues that the administration is grappling with, and that's something that they're really focusing on, and they're trying to get the president focused on. So I think that's the caveat here, is the team around him is really focused on it, but for the president himself, he's focused on sort of this legacy building aspect, which goes beyond things like short-term gas prices.
Which is like regime change in Iran and bringing about an end to the Iranian regime. Madeline, this would normally be great news for Democrats that you have a president with a very low approval rating. However, polling from NBC News, trust Republicans more. On the economy, it's tied 40-40, which is interesting considering how much we're told the economy is a ball and chain around Donald Trump. Border security, Donald Trump is trusted by almost 30 points. Crime, Republicans over Dems by 12 points. Immigration, Democrats are underwater by, I'm doing the math here, 12 points as well. So what exactly do Democrats have going for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I don't want to say that it's pointing the finger at Donald Trump because that hasn't worked for us in the past. However, we are not on offense now, we're on defense. And I think that the deal is right now that the Trump administration is asking the American people to overlook a lot with this war, right? Overlook the fact that your gas has just gone up on average 27 cents a gallon. Overlook the fact that we're having AI make decisions about where our targets are and we just lost over 150 little girls, right? Overlook.
That's in dispute, but go ahead.
Yes, overlook all of these things and trust me that I'm making the right decision.
Okay, but to that point, okay, Democrats have a say in this, especially as it accounts to the shutdown, right? This is from the White House. Democrats are shamelessly playing politics with national security, punishing hardworking TSA workers and their families. Enough is enough. Stop holding national security and everyday Americans hostage. At a time when you have a heightened terror threat, how do Democrats explain we shouldn't pay TSA workers?
Yeah, so I think actually, and this kind of goes back to my speech writing, I think actually right now the Democrats are looking at this in a way that absolves them of responsibility, because in the average person's mind, like myself, there's one negative overarching thing, which is the war, and so it's very easy to attribute whatever negative feelings you're having to the first thing that you see, right? The war is going on, and so things are shut down. It's not necessarily cause and effect. It doesn't have to be true. It's just, oh, there's all this negative
perception
stuff
is reality.
There's just all this negative stuff going on.
Shelby, that is an important point. What is perception? We saw President Trump come out today trying once again to make the case to the American people of why confronting Iran is important. What has to happen for President Trump, for Republicans over the next week? How are they planning on continuing to, for lack of a better term, sell the war?
You're seeing how they're trying to shift. One thing that I thought was really interesting that the president didn't say during his press conference was he didn't call it a war. And that is a difference. You have seen his aides and his cabinet stop calling it a war, but up until now, he was calling it a war.
Yeah,
and
now
so
we have
alone,
that. We have that. Hold on, we'll listen to it. Trump's calling it a little excursion.
Mm-hmm.
This was an excursion that a lot of people wouldn't have done. I knew oil prices would go up if I did this, and they've gone up probably less than I thought they'd go up. But I don't think anybody thought we were going to be this quickly successful. This was a military success, the likes of which people haven't seen.
Explain to us the word excursion.
Yeah, so the way the White House is trying to sell this now is by acting like this is going to be a short-term, small thing, right? The word war is a huge phrase for the American people, and so you're seeing them try to shift public opinion by saying, no, it's not a war. We're not in there for the long term. This is not another Afghanistan. It's just a little. We're just going to hop in there for a week or two, and then we'll be right back out. But you're right, perception is reality. And so you're also seeing the administration, and I think it's tough when you get Donald Trump up there because at the end of the day, he says what he wants to. You're seeing them try to say exactly what they've been saying on the economy, which is just wait a little bit and things will get better.
And if I may, I don't know why we give him a pass. I don't know why we decide when he says, oh, we're just going to sell it to the American people by not using the word war. Or there's no concrete evidence that there was an imminent threat of violence to the United States from Iran. But we're just going to allow him to lie. We're just going to allow him to say what and shape our perception about things, and we're just going to let him get away with it.
The Iranian regime's been killing Americans for 47 years, and they clearly are rearming to do that. I think the question is a different one for Democrats, though. I'll give you the last 30 seconds. The killing of the Ayatollah, the defanging of Iran, unquestionably good. President Trump gets out. Maybe there's regime change in Iran. How do Democrats have anything to run on if he has a huge success?
Yeah, so I think what happens now is the Democrats have to build this momentum, right? Because 1 out of every 2 Americans doesn't want this war. And I think that Donald Trump cares deeply about public perception and about whether or not people like him. I think he understands that the energy needs to shift, and it's already in the Democrats' direction.
They're working on shifting the energy. That's happening.
Yes.
Shelby Talcott, Madeline Summerville, thank you both very much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.